Yes.
The swim this morning is 3.8 kilometres. They're going to hug the shore and then turn left, exit the water just on the front in Eidfjord, where their bikes will be waiting for them. Now, the water here, it's around 15 degrees this morning, and as we've said in the earlier broadcasts, it's beautifully flat. We have never seen conditions like this for Norseman. So we're thinking we may potentially see a new swim time record today. So the record exists at 47 minutes and 54 seconds. We know we have at least one athlete out there who's keen to beat that record. So
Good morning.
We're going to be in
Norseman
T1
Live.
filming that, so
Stuart
don't
McInnes,
miss that.
and
If we
will
see
be
a
one
new
of your
swim
hosts
record
today.
set today at
I'm
Norseman,
here along
it's going to
with
be quite
Igor Meyer
something,
in
being able to
Montenegro,
swim
who will
a
be
little
backing
under
us
4
up with
kilometres
some
and that's
funny
it.
Commentary from his corner of the world. As you might expect, nothing is working this morning, so we do not have a live feed from the ferry.
So our
at this
ship's
moment,
horn
but
has
we're working on
sounded,
fixing
our
it.
kayakers have
So
raised their
before we get to
paddles,
that, which
and our
will hopefully
athletes
just
are off to
interrupt
start
me,
the
and we'll go straight to the
2024
ferry. Let's have an
Norseman
introduction
race.
from
Now,
Igor.
this first part of the swim is all going to be about getting in.
The big start in a couple of minutes, and delighted to be part of this amazing race. Well, the whole X-Tri world is going around around this date every year. So 280 people will jump from the ferry, and will be there to check who will be the fastest one today from male and female, and to praise the new X-Tri World Tour champions.
Igor, sorry to interrupt. Apparently we can go live immediately, so let's fire over to the teams in Eidfjord.
Good.
Trying to find their flow. The fast swimmers will want to be out of the way and in clear water at the front. And we can see a couple already here just breaking away. Swimmers at the back maybe taking it a little bit easier, just relaxing into the swim, hoping to enjoy this and get out of the water with fresh legs. They've got a really long day ahead of them. So massive, great big cycle across Norway. This is a point-to-point race, so we don't do any laps. We start here in Eidfjord and we'll finish sometime this afternoon on the top of the mountain in Gaustatoppen. That's provided Mother Nature plays ball and we're able to access the mountain, because it's a really steep, treacherous mountain in bad weather. Conditions are perfect today, so we're just hoping that they stay like this. So our athletes in the water now, looking comfortable. They're starting to spread out. Obviously 259 swimmers, that's a lot of bodies in the water, but they're looking comfortable for now. Most of them swimming front crawl, freestyle stroke, which we know is the most efficient swim stroke for most athletes. They're looking good, they're looking strong. We're going to cut now and our boat is going to go back to Eidfjord. I'm going to be waiting in T1 for them to see if we're going to break that swim record this year. So come back later, we'll update you then. But for now, I'm Helen.
Thank you, Helen. Yes, sorry, we're not seeing Helen at the moment, but we'll get that fixed shortly. Just for the team, while you're here and everyone can hear this, I need power for my laptop, please. It's not connected. No, it's Jan. It's gone. I've lost it. Hey. Sorry. I presume everyone can see that. They know we have teething troubles in here. I presume we are still live at the moment from the studio. We are. Okay, so Igor, why don't you tell us a little bit about the race that you do in Montenegro? For those of you that are having to suffer my handsome face at the moment, we will get something else for you very, very soon. Just give us a few moments to fix these technical difficulties.
Okay, just to check, Stu, you copy me?
Yes. Igor.
Okay, Stu.
I Igor, can you present if you can hear
Yep.
me?
Yes, yes.
Because I'm not connected. Please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Present what?
Anything. Tell them about your race. They love it. They love to hear about
okay,
it.
great. So people are expecting to see the jump from the ferry in Norway. They are preparing for a year. They are doing the ballot for 20 years, and now they will hear the story about Montenegro and the crazy race over there, right?
Exactly, something like that. Or you can tell them all about your experience with Ironman. They don't really care. They just want to see some content.
Okay, good. Okay. Anyway, yeah, we are waiting for the live from the ferry, but the idea with the ferry started like 22 years ago. One crazy guy, but we'll speak about him later. Decided to make the extreme race there in Norway, and he said, "Okay, let's do it. Let's do it with the jump of the ferry." And now somehow people think that extreme triathlon needs to start with the jump from the ferry, but actually not. So every triathlon is a bit different. Every race has something different, something unique about it. Let's keep the ferry and with the Norway, with the Norseman, and let's give some other races something different. So as most of the people know about the kelpman and jellyfishes, yeah, we have something different in Montenegro. We have a Black Lake Extreme Triathlon, the race in which you will swim in 2 lakes. And how you will go from one to the other? Okay, you need to do some run between it. It's not big, it's like 50, 60 meters. But yeah, you will do the two lake swims, and that's how adventure
The
is
question
started.
is, Igor, do you have a ferry?
Yeah, we do. Not in the lakes. Not in the lakes. We can bring whatever you need. You just need to say, and then we can organize it. But actually, the extreme. We will speak later, of course, about unique races through the X-Tri World Tour. But let's keep it now with the Norsemen and how everything begins, and it was the hardest event when it's founded 1 year ago, and how it was hard, how it was almost impossible to finish it. But now we realize that people are doing crazy things over the years. We have really hard races, not only in the X-Tri World Tour. We have all around the world really hard races that are almost impossible to finish. And now when you see the profile course of the bike on the run of the Norseman, it's now looking like a flat race course, but it's not like that, of course. So let's keep today with the Norseman, and we see how it goes.
Absolutely, and of course they've all we've started to do our Heath Robinson broadcast at 5 a.m. but they've been out there since 3, signing on, collecting their GPS chips, entering the ferry in Eifjord this morning, which always has an incredible atmosphere. It's forbidding, it's scary, they're all nervous. The queue for the toilets is immense. It goes all the way around the block. The free coffee in the hotel is always widely abused by athletes filling up thermos containers for taking on the ferry. 1 cup each, that goes down the toilet straight away.
And it's actually I think there is no person that been to more Norseman than used to, so you can speak from a perspective of somebody who is deeply involved in a lot of aspect of the Norseman. But I was there only once in 2019 doing the race, so I know exactly what you are telling me now about the queue, about the toilets, about the nervous, and before you come to the Norseman, you want to be the part of that race for many, many, many years. We are witnesses that people are doing the ballots for more than 10, 15 years, and they just refuse to go to other races. They are waiting for the gold email from the Norseman team. Okay, you are in, but it doesn't happen. More than 5,000 people every year try to be part of this amazing event, and then you can really understand all this nervousness, all the scary faces, because it's a once in a lifetime. So it's not that easy. Okay, if I don't succeed this year, I will come again next year. Maybe you will not. Maybe you will wait again 10 to 15 years. So yeah, I do still remember, even though 5 years went already, I do really remember almost every single detail, because in the months before the race, you are just seeing the amazing Norseman videos on the YouTube. You are checking every single part of the video. You see the scary faces from the people years ago. So, and again, it's like it's like you are living the same moment, and there is a camera. Maybe they will catch me again. So I need to make my own scary face. So if I be on the video, okay, I will be the scary guy.
You can't be smiling on the ferry in the morning. That's definitely not allowed.
So and what I do remember from 2019, I do remember 2 ladies. They were so scared. They like singing and dancing, and we are so cool, we are so chill, but they were so scared. So every single one of us has a different way to be, to be scared, at least. So I know it's not easy.
And this is true, Igor. And I just say that something we never managed to capture, but would always be something that would be amazing, is people opening that golden email. Because some of the stories you hear from where they are, what they were doing, what they felt like. I mean, there was probably there was a lot of white faces around the world last October when those emails were opened. Because as you say, some people have waited many, many years to get through the ballot. And then when they receive that, it's a life-changing email.
Yep.
And I always think it would be great to have a camera in that living room to capture that moment, which is probably impossible for us, but it would be a nice thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, every single athlete is a story for themselves, and I never heard. I never heard a boring story. Only the way you are telling the story can be a bit boring, but actually, whoever I sit, whoever I visit, whoever I sit, whoever starts speaking, it's amazing story. It's somebody start to do these sports because of the bet, somebody because they were overweight, somebody because it was cool in that moment, but then they start struggling and then they manage to go over the boundaries. But it's never easy, it's never simple. It's okay, let's do some let's do extreme triathlon, and then it's like that. I'm doing 9 to 5 job, after that I do the training. It's never that simple. It's so unique, it's so amazing. And go through the start list. I went yesterday and this morning again, and when you just see the variety of people, 37 different countries, so it's almost the whole world. So all the continents, people gathered today in Eifjord to start for this adventure, and every single one of them will bring back those stories home. We have the oldest competitor this year he's turning 70. So sorry, but my English it's 70. It's not 17. So 70 years old, the oldest athlete, and yeah. Can you imagine yourself in your 70s doing the jump from the ferry? Believe me, even though it's like almost a bit less than 30 years from now, but I cannot imagine myself with 70 jumping from that ferry. It's really something life changing. And the youngest athlete is now only 24. So can we compare those stories from this guy 24 years old and this guy 70 years old, and them speak about jump? Okay, so it's the same jump, it's the same start, it's the same finish line, but completely different stories. And I cannot say that the one of the 70 years it's a better one. No, it's not. It's just different, and it's something that we will.
I would just say that we are recording at the moment out on the field. So these recordings are being sent to the server, and we will get you footage as soon as we can. You will not have to listen to Igor and I, and we have a live feed now, so we can switch to that immediately. Yes, let's get over to the live feed.
We're standing here now. It's seconds before people are allowed to do the jump from the ferry. And we're standing here with Flora College. Flora, how's the night been?
Been a good night, pretty good sleep, and just super excited for the day now.
Yeah, any last thoughts before you jump into the water?
Let's just do this thing.
You have done it a lot of times before. How would you describe the Norseman ferry jump?
It's just iconic.
Yeah.
You know, that's the photo I saw 8 years ago where I was like, I've got to do that race and I've got to win that race.
Yeah.
And now I get to do it again. So many people dream of it, so I will really try and enjoy it and do it for everyone who can't.
Yeah. And what's the strategy? Do you try to land horizontal or vertical?
I usually try and land feet first. Maybe this year I'll try something different.
Flora, we wish you so much good luck, and you're actually allowed to do the jump. Now, can we follow you into the edge?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I will jump with you.
Yes! You first.
You can really feel the tension now. A lot of athletes have already done the jump. People are, standing there. They're wondering a little bit: should I jump? Should I go back? And people have actually stopped and yeah, it has happened. Have you considered? I think everyone has.
Very
good. Good luck, Laura.
Enjoy.
Getting some last preparation from Frederick Mans and start number 1. But
I believe we're back in the studio. Yes, what you're seeing, of course, is not live, but it was recorded just when we had some technical difficulties at the beginning. However, you can imagine, although that was about half an hour ago, the atmosphere is the same. Really, really high tension. Everybody's excited about jumping off that ferry. They are now in the water and the race is underway, and hopefully we can get you some live footage as soon as possible. if my team could keep me updated as to what you're seeing. For information, I cannot actually see the live feed real time. So if I sound like I'm stabbing in the dark, it's because I am.
Yeah.
So excuse me.
Let's keep on talking about the swim.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that's the thing we can
yes.
we can.
Yeah, well, you can give. I mean, as you say, Igor, I've been to the Norseman many times as a filmmaker, as a crew member, as a support team, as an organizer, now as a really terrible presenter. But I've never been there as an athlete, so that needs to come from your perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Let's a bit speak about the jump. You know what is that famous jump for? It's not that high. It's like 2 meters, but it's scary. Trust me, it's scary. I was raised on the coast. I was raised by the sea, and I never had a problem with the jump of 2 meter high. But that is something completely different, because you are already in your wetsuit for 3 a.m. in the morning, and then you are expecting that, and you are already warm. You get a cold shower on deck on the ferry to bit chill down, but it's not that simple. And also you cannot ignore that there are people that are afraid of the high jump, and also you cannot ignore the fact that you can lose your swim goggles. So it's something really important and probably game changing. If you are before the start, you just lose your swim goggles because of the jump. So you need to jump. You need to keep the hand on your head, and you just be aware that race didn't even start it. So there is like 100 or 150 meters before from the jump of the ferry to the start line. And I think official temperature is around 14, right?
Yes, today the temperature, they expect it to be between 14 and 15 degrees. So that's obviously a huge part of this race, is people are always apprehensive about the cold water. And although for us in Northern Europe, 14 or 15 degrees could be considered to be quite warm, for the rest of the world,
no, it's not.
From slightly nicer, warmer places, it's not warm. It's not warm.
And
it's cold water.
Also, it's not the temperature that it will be all the time like that. It can go really. It can be even cooler. So, for my perspective, I think that when people get out from the water, when they check their Garmins, it will go from 11 until 15, 16 somewhere, because there are a lot of springs with the fresh water. And while you swim, you can feel that actually when the water enters the mouth, you can feel it's not only the salt water, you can actually drink it. It's fresh water from the springs. So it can be really, really, really challenging to do it. Also, there are not a lot of buoys during the swim. It's just like
well, there's only one.
Yeah. Actually, it's just straightforward. You are just swimming parallel to the shore and towards the firebond, right? And many times, while I was speaking about the Norseman, about the swim, there is one buoy that you need to turn left. And actually, I said you need to turn left when you feel the smell of the fire. So actually, you are so close to the bonfire, you can feel the
yes,
you
I
can
don't
smell.
think there's a fire there this morning. The boy is visible. So.
But boy is visible. Okay, so you are improving. You are improving.
Absolutely, yes. But obviously that cold water has huge implications if they're not used to it. Many people are, in fact, strangely, some people will be overdressed this morning because they'll be so apprehensive about the cold water that they'll have really thick wetsuit and a rash vest and a hat, 2 hats, gloves, booties, and actually that's probably not necessary in water of 14 or 15 degrees.
Yeah.
But still, there's so many different standards and so many different fears out there in the water this morning. But now they're there, they're swimming. It's going to be fairly serene. The weather this morning is calm, I believe, although I can't see out the window, as you can imagine in this cell. But it's a beautiful morning, and the weather forecast for today is pretty steady. So it should be nice conditions for the Norseman race for most of the day.
Great. Also, one technical, because I'm checking the live chat here on YouTube, so people are asking about what are with GPS trackers. So just let them know that GPS trackers will be active from the bike course. So people are not allowed, athletes are not allowed to bring GPS trackers on the swim course. So you cannot check anything, but as soon as your athlete that you are following start with bike, you will see the live GPS tracking. So no trackers in the
That's absolutely correct.
no
Absolutely
trackers
correct,
in the water. Trackers will be active from the bike start from T1 until the finish line. So you can check it.
Okay, excellent. I am being told that we have some clips from this morning, so I presume we can go over to those right now.
Good morning and welcome to Norseman Live. This is my
We're off here,
first
Igor.
live broadcast
Thank you,
of
chaps. I need to fix this. I
2024.
have no
So
connection to the meeting
welcome
here.
to the race for everybody watching at home.
I'll
Now,
probably drop out the
just to
meeting
give
for
you
a
a
moment,
little
Igor,
bit of
because it's
background,
lost,
it's
the
3:30 in the morning on race day. We're standing in T1. For those of you who aren't triathletes, that's transition 1. This is the point where the athletes will come back after their 3.8 kilometre swim, get their wetsuits off, get their kit together and head out on the bike. So the guys you can see behind us at the moment are doing what's known as bike racking. They're bringing the bikes here, ready for the day ahead. They're laying out all the kit
Okay,
they'll need
Igor,
on the bike
what we
leg.
don't have,
And they're going
Igor,
to go off
is-
and get
or I
on the
don't have any-
ferry
is
and
any
get ready for their
information
swim. So this morning's race will
This is- yeah,
kick
yes,
off about 5 a.m. So the athletes will go on the ferry. It will take them 3.8 kilometres out into the fjord behind me, which we've had is like glass this morning. It's absolutely beautifully calm, beautifully still. The water's hovering at around 15 degrees centigrade, which is a beautiful swimming temperature for most of our athletes today. We can just see the mountains behind us. We've got the stars out still. It's super, super early. There's not a breath of wind. The air temperature is feeling quite cosy, quite nice already. We've had a couple of athletes who we were just talking to. They have a slogan at Norseman, "You are not ready for this," and they're just saying, we are not ready for this weather. Like, where's the crazy Viking weather? But it's a long day in the mountains. So today our athletes, they'll do their swim in the fjord. They will cycle all the way across Norway, across plateaus, up and down mountains, past waterfalls. And then they'll get off the bike and they'll start our phenomenal Norseman run, which, if they're one of our first 160 competitors to reach the check-off point, will go up the mountain and finish on the top of Gaustatoppen, one of the highest points in Norway. So we're in for a phenomenal day of racing. We're going to be here for roughly 15 hours today. So, you know, feel free to watch all day or dip in and out, and let us know on our Facebook page as well who you're supporting. Send your messages of hope, of good luck, of support to your competitors, to your country, and let us know what's happening in your world as well, and we'll try and get through as many of your messages today as we can. So we're going to go for a little bit of a stroll. I'm going to keep quiet. We're going to take in a few sights and scenes from Transition 1, and we will catch you later.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, just jump. Welcome back to Norseman Live. We're keen to give you as many different angles on the action as we can today. So you're joining Media Team 1, Media Team 2 are up on the ferry at the moment. You'll have seen them already. We're on one of the press boats, which is one of the small boats in the water, just watching these athletes take this jump to start Norseman 2024. So just behind us, you can see the athletes coming thick and fast into the water now. This is almost one of the most nerve-wracking parts of the day for a lot of athletes. So they've come out 3.8 kilometres into the fjord this morning. They need to jump off the back of this ferry into the water. It's about 15 degrees in the water, maybe slightly warmer. And we've all been saying we've never seen the fjord this pancake flat. The water is like glass this year. So they've got perfect conditions. So roughly 280 athletes jumping from the back of the ferry this morning, being really careful not to lose their cap and goggles. That's probably the biggest risk of the jump. You don't want to lose your goggles and have to swim almost 4 kilometres without them. They'll then do a short swim over to our start line, which is between some kayaks closer towards the shore, which you can just see there. You can see the lights on top of the kayaks. So our athletes have a short warm-up swim to get to the kayaks where the start point is. When the race starts at roughly 5 a.m, we'll hear the ship's horn blast to start the race. The kayaks will all lift up their oars as a visual signal and we'll know the race is underway. But for now, we're just going to leave you with some shots of these athletes jumping and we'll join you again soon. Welcome back to Norseman Live from one of our media boats here in the fjord just outside Eyfjord village. Our athletes are all in the water now. We're roughly 90 seconds before the 2024 race gets underway with a huge loud klaxon from the ferry that our athletes jumped from this morning. So in roughly a minute's time we'll hear the boat's klaxon go, the boat's horn rather. We'll see all of our kayakers in the water here raise their oars as a visual cue. Here we'll have earplugs in to protect their ears. You know, they will need that visual cue as well. We've got 259 triathletes in the water this morning. You can see them all there bobbing in the water, just waiting for this race to get underway. The swim this morning is 3.8 kilometres. They're going to hug the shore and then turn left, exit the water just on the front in Eidfjord where their bikes will be waiting for them. Now the water here, it's around 15 degrees this morning, and as we've said in the earlier broadcasts, it's beautifully flat. We have never seen conditions like this for Norseman. So we're thinking we may potentially see a new swim time record today. So the record exists at 47 minutes and 54 seconds. We know we have at least one athlete out there who's keen to beat that record. So we're going to be in T1 filming that, so don't miss that. If we see a new swim record set today at Norseman, it's going to be quite something, being able to swim a little under 4 kilometres in... Oh, and that's it. So our ship's horn has sounded, our kayakers have raised their paddles, and our athletes are off to start the 2024 Norseman race. Now, this first part of the swim is all going to be about getting into the flow, getting into their stride. They've already had a short swim from the ferry to acclimatise the temperatures. Now, for a lot of us, 15 degrees for the swim will feel very nice. Bear in mind, though, this is a global race. We have athletes here from all over the world. They've qualified at different X-Tri World Tour races. So for some of them, we spoke to an athlete yesterday from Kenya, the first to represent his country here. He finds this water quite cold. So wherever people have come from, there's different challenges throughout the day. For some of them, the swim will be the biggest. So our swimmers here will be trying to find a good position in the swim. Our stronger swimmers, obviously at the front, trying to get away from the pack, where maybe some of the more weaker swimmers are just kind of trying to find their flow. The fast swimmers will want to be out of the way and in clear water at the front. And we can see a couple already here just breaking away. Swimmers at the back maybe taking it a little bit easier, just relaxing into the swim, hoping to enjoy this and get out of the water with fresh legs. They've got a really long day ahead of them. So massive, great big cycle across Norway. This is a point-to-point race, so we don't do any laps. We start here in Eidfjord and we'll finish sometime this afternoon on the top of the mountain in Gaustatoppen. That's provided Mother Nature plays ball and we're able to access the mountain, because it's a really steep, treacherous mountain in bad weather. Conditions are perfect today, so we're just hoping that they stay like this. So our athletes in the water now, looking comfortable. They're starting to spread out. Obviously 259 swimmers, that's a lot of bodies in the water, but they're looking comfortable for now. Most of them swimming front crawl, freestyle stroke, which we know is the most efficient swim stroke for most athletes. They're looking good, they're looking strong. We're going to cut now and our boat is going to go back to Eidfjord. I'm going to be waiting in T1 for them to see if we're going to break that swim record this year. So come back later, we'll update you then. But for now, I'm Helen, we're Norseman Live, and we're going to see you later on.
When you're ready.
Welcome back to Norseman Live. We're still on the water in the press boat during the swim, but we just wanted to bring you some footage of our lead swimmer this morning. Now, the guy you can see in the water just here, cap number 36. All our athletes have their numbers on their swim caps if you're following people at home, and you can see some footage. Summer 36, this is Jørgen Gundersen, who's a Norwegian athlete, and we spoke to him yesterday for Norseman Live, and he said that he hopes to beat the swim record at this year's race.
Okay, thank you, Helen. So we now we're part way through the swim, and the fastest time is usually well under an hour, so it won't be long before they are on the shore. You can follow the race on norseman.racetracker.no. That's norseman.racetracker.no. That will give you access to the live tracker. Those trackers will go live immediately after the bikes leave from T1. They're obviously not used in the swim, or we will lose them and they won't work anymore. So very, very soon we will see that begin, and we can apparently now go to a camera on the shore, I believe. Is that correct, team? If you can give me some sort of nod. We'll try, it says. Also, we need someone who can type faster, please. Can we go and Okay, let's try. Shore cam, here we go. So you're not, okay. Mics are off. Okay. Okay. The mic. Igor, the mics are back on now, so you can talk about T1. Okay, now I'm being told that Igor is not broadcasting, but I am. At the moment, I can only see T1 in a kind of pixelated way, but I believe that is coming through cleaner shortly. Although there's not much to see yet, there is no one in T1 as we speak. But very soon you will see our live teams down there, along with the athletes beginning to come out of the water. It still looks like a lovely morning down in Eifjord. It's improving, okay. I'm sure that everybody is much more interested in the live feed than in listening to us, but we are here just to fill in for the technical difficulties, which of course we are still having. This is an experimental broadcast for Norseman, and it is a very, very complicated thing to do, even with today's technology. We have a number of live cams on the course, remote cams. We have a camera in the swim as well. I'm not sure if that's been working. There's a live feed mounted to a guy in a dry suit. Alexander Corner, one of our photographers, is out there with the swimmers. So hopefully we can get some footage from him very, very soon and give you something enjoyable to watch. Rather than Igor and I reminiscing about the time we went to Norseman together. 2019 actually, when it was very, very hot. Today it is not very, very hot, but it will be pleasant for the athletes with an air temperature around about 16 degrees for most of the day, perhaps a little bit warmer in the afternoon. So it should be a nice day. Is Igor live now? Igor, you might as well, you know what, you give your thing, Igor. If they can't hear you, they can look at the lovely pictures. Well, hopefully they will. So let's try. Okay. Yeah, that's also something important for people to know when we're broadcasting this. There's actually a delay of about 20 seconds in what you see and what we are broadcasting. So for us, it's quite complicated to coordinate what we're seeing. If we're commentating on the live feed, we're 20 seconds out. So apologies for that. Okay. Igor tells me that he cannot hear himself on the live broadcast, which means it's only me that you can listen to. So let me describe this scene to you. This is T1 in Eidfjord, where all the bikes are waiting. The support crews are there, very, very nervous. We wonder who will be first out of the water this morning. It's the great unknown. Obviously, there are some favourites, but Norseman being still an open race, you can qualify via Extra World Tour races, and which means there's a fast field at the front, but it's also still possible to enter the famous ballot. So about half the field have come via the ballot, and we don't know anything about them. So you never know what's going to happen in this race. We could see a complete outsider come out of the water first, which is always fun. It gives some a real boost to their support team. Okay, Igor, I believe you can come in now. If you want to maybe describe how you were feeling towards the last part of the swim before exiting when you were racing.
Yeah, okay. If I hope so that audience can hear me. So I will speak as they hear me. So actually, the 3.8 kilometer swim is quite simple. You are just swimming parallel with the shore. Second. Yeah. So I'm in. So you are just swimming parallel of the shore, and then 190 degrees turn on the left to the pier, and you are exit. I can see now from the live stream from this camera is some boat started at 5 a.m. or before the athlete. Why do you need supporter? Okay, you don't in this moment to change with T1 of the Norseman, and not only the Norseman, but all X-Tri World Tour races, because athletes.
And actually, Igor, if I could interrupt for a second,
Yeah,
there,
of
just to
course.
give a little. Some races use different identification. This is because on some races where they haven't been quite so strict, we've then observed athletes with 14. It's quite incredible. So we have to be strict about this. There is one supporter only required in the transition zone to help the athlete.
That's great. I get information. Make it fast, helping him or her to take off all the wet stuff and to put all the dry stuff, and we will see what athlete will wear. Up, you need not as much what they will wear, but now in 10-15 minutes it will be completely mess. But if you know what you are looking at, it will be the best possible view. You anything else to add before we have team one?
No, I mean, we're counting down now. There's probably only a few minutes. Obviously, we can't see exactly where the swimmers are at the moment from this, because we're seeing the same camera angle that the people at home are seeing. But there looks like there's some activity down at the swim exit there. So live one
I see people are running over the pier.
Yes.
People are running over the pier, so that means that first athlete almost done, and that's
the world record for
we're
this
switching to
swim
the live
is
feed, Igor.
47
Let's go
minutes
over to the
and
live teams now.
54 seconds. So he's going to be around that time, but we'll need to get confirmation. So many people here supporting this first athlete as he comes out of the water. So number 36, confirmation there. Yes, that is Jørgen Gundersen, one of our Norwegian home athletes here, and he's looking super strong. Now, we saw him swimming from the boat earlier. There is some footage on YouTube if you want to see it, but he looked so strong in the swim, so relaxed, so focused, just beautiful to watch as the sun rose behind the mountains here in Eidfjord. Now, Jørgen is going to run to T1 now, where his bike will be waiting for him. He's taken his wetsuit off as he ran up the hill, so wetsuit off. He's going to put on his bike shoes, his bike helmet. They also need to wear a fluorescent vest at Norseman. And another change to the usual competition rules, everyone's bike has to have lights on it. Now, that's not normal in triathlon, but we do it at Norseman for safety. So our bike course here today, 180 kilometres across Norway. They're going to go through some tunnels that are quite long, very dark. They're going to go up and down some of the older roads here in Norway, past waterfalls. So we want to keep those athletes as safe as possible. So fluorescent tabard, bike lights, and he'll be off. Now, we have our support crews for all our athletes in T1 as well, so the athletes can get a little bit of help here, but once they're out on the bike, they're on their own for roughly 20 kilometres, the first chunk of the bike leg. We ask them to kind of go get on, be self-supported, because that's quite a treacherous part of the course. We want to keep all of our cyclists as safe as possible. So people's support teams will go off in their cars and meet them at that 20k plus point this morning. So our first swimmer has come out of the water, number 36 Jørgen Gundersen of Norway. And we are waiting for swimmer number 2 at the moment, but that is quite a healthy gap. So Obviously, the more of a gap you can get out of the swim, the more of an advantage you've got when it comes to the bike leg. So, yeah, we're seeing a good... I mean, we are probably already at about 3 minutes of me talking and no other athletes out of the water yet. As a reminder, we have 259 athletes jumped off the back of the ferry this morning, 3.8 kilometres out into the fjord here. They've then started this long swim back, hugging the shoreline you can see behind me, turning left at a bonfire which lights their way home, turning left along this jetty here to exit the water and go up to T1 to find their bikes. So all the people you can see lining the rocks here with the white tabards on, their race support. So we have probably hundreds of people here waiting for these athletes to come out of the swim. Now, the conditions this morning are beautifully flat and clear. I have never seen the water this calm in Eidfjord. It's like glass today. We can just see our second athlete here coming out of the water. Now, I'm guessing this is going to be another one of our male competitors. We have some really strong athletes out there today. We should mention Lars Richert, who is a German athlete who we interviewed yesterday. Now, Lars holds the age group Ironman record. He set that at Ironman Hamburg, roughly 7 hours and 52 minutes. So he's going to be super strong today as well. So we're expecting to see Lars fairly soon. So cheers going up for this athlete now. Okay, so it's athlete number 23 coming out of the water now. Oh, little bit unsteady on his feet. So that's perfectly normal for these races. The athletes have got all that adrenaline coursing. They've been in this cool water for, well, around 50 minutes now. So getting your feet again can be a little bit challenging. So athlete number 23 just exiting the water. If you want to follow an athlete or you want to find out who it is that's coming out of the water, go to nxtri.com where you will find a full start list link onto Race ID. You can then find a full list of everybody that's racing today, together with their race numbers and also their nationalities. So if there's a team or a country you want to follow, then go to nxtri.com and find our start list and you'll have all the information you need there. But as we were saying, beautiful conditions here in the fjord today. The water is pancake flat. It's around 15 degrees. We've heard reports it might be 16, but that's unseasonably warm for Norseman. We're used to temperatures of around 11, 12, 13 maybe, and people come to this race having prepared for a cold swim. We actually spotted Jürgen Mello, who's our safety director, and also he runs a cold water research project out of Norseman. And he said to us this morning, it's not a good year to be a cold water researcher, and we can understand that. But for these athletes, this is beautiful. There are some special considerations on the swim as well. So in most triathlons, you're only allowed to wear a wetsuit, a swim cap and goggles, and your wetsuit has to be to the International Triathlon Union, Triathlon Federation rules, which means that your wetsuit must be under 5 millimetres thick in all parts of the wetsuit. At Norseman, we do things a little bit differently because we're expecting very cold water. So athletes are allowed to wear slightly thicker wetsuits. So some wetsuits might have panels up to 8 millimetres on the core just to keep the body warm. They are also allowed to wear neoprene accessories. So you will see some of our athletes will come out of the water wearing neoprene caps. They might have gloves. A lot of them will be wearing neoprene boots on their feet. Anything they can do to stay a little bit warmer during this 3.8 kilometre swim is going to help them, because once they get out of the water and onto the bike, They're going to be cycling up our old roads, up to the Hardanger plateau. They're going to get cold on the bike if they're already cold and wet. You know, they're going to get chilly cycling in their tri-suits and tabards. So we want to keep our athletes as warm as we can to face this difficult day in the mountains. So we're looking here at our third placed athlete out of the water. Again, a bit of a gap there, and we're looking at maybe about 8 or 9 minutes behind the race leader. That was number 6. That was Jørgen of Norway. So here, number 3 coming out of the water. And this is number 37, I believe. Just trying to, 37. Just trying to get the number on the cap there. Again, go to nxtri.com and there you will find our start list today. So you can find all the information on the athletes, their nationalities, find the people that you're supporting at nxtri.com. But for now, we were just explaining that they are allowed to wear extra kit in the swim today. So they are allowed to wear slightly thicker wetsuits. They're allowed to wear neoprene caps, gloves, boots. De Boer wetsuits are one of our supporters here at Norseman. They've actually designed a wetsuit specifically for this race. So if we see an athlete wearing that Norseman wetsuit, we'll give them a quick shout out so you can see the suit. But we have a small group of athletes here now coming under our jetty where the supporters are cheering them in. So a group of 3 athletes by the look of this swimming together. Now, in front crawl swimming in triathlon, you get a real benefit from what we call drafting. So if you can get behind an athlete who is slightly quicker than you and swim behind them, you will get a drafting effect, which will make you a little bit faster as well, help you save some energy for the bike and run. So, yeah, these guys have obviously tucked in behind each other. I say, guys, we're assuming that the top few athletes are going to be male competitors, but you never know. Stranger things have happened at Norseman. So let's just take a look. So we have what looks like number 27 there at the front, number 33. Yeah, I'm not sure what number this third athlete is. Well, let's hear if we can hear it shout as they go up the hill. Stopping to just give a little victory salute to his support team there. So that's our top 6 athletes out of the water, all in our men's race today. So we're still waiting for our first female finisher. And we're expecting a pretty fierce race in the female competition today. So we have all of our top 3 athletes from last year's race are back here. So we've got Flora, Kaya and Laura. They were our top 3 last year. They're all back racing this year. For those of you that follow Norseman, you'll know that last year we had really challenging conditions. We had thunderstorms on the course. We're not allowed on the mountain if there's thunder. So nobody went up the mountain last year. So for our top 3 female athletes coming back here, hoping to win Norseman again and get up that mountain, it's quite a special year. So still seeing athletes here coming out of the water. Number 202 by the looks of it. So seeing some of our age group competitors here coming out. That's a phenomenal time for one of our age groupers. So all of our athletes are amazing at Norseman. They're all fantastic. They've all qualified through lots of hard work and determination usually. The lower the race number, the higher ranked the athletes. So the athletes with the lower numbers tend to be the athletes that are higher ranked here. So, for example, Flora College, who was our women's race winner yesterday, wears cap number 1. So we'll be keeping an eye out for her coming out the swim. So roughly the top 30 race numbers are usually our strongest competitors. We would say they generally have the best hope of winning, but we never know. So we have some fantastic wildcard athletes here at Norseman this year. So we'll have to wait and see how the day unfolds, and anything could happen in the mountains. It's a long day here at Norseman. So a lot of our athletes will be out there swimming in a pack. We do have cut-off times at Norseman as well. The cut-off for the swim here is 2 hours and 15 minutes for our 3.8 kilometres. So it's a pretty generous time. We would hope most of our athletes will be able to come in well under the 2 hours and get out onto their bike leg. But there might be one or two for who the swim is not their best discipline. Maybe they're having a bad day in the water. So we will really hope that they're going to meet that 2 hour and 15 minutes cut off. But we're just waiting here, hoping to see some more athletes come out of the water. We're hoping to see our first female athlete out of the water here as well and give them a big cheer. So we can see some of the boats in the distance here coming in. We have all of our supporters on the pontoon as well behind us. So these guys will be the friends and family of all the athletes racing. So hundreds of people here in this little village of Eidfjord today supporting. The guys you can see wearing the white vests with support written on, they are team support. So every athlete is allowed to have 2 people with them who will be their race support. Now, we have a saying at Norseman, you can't do it alone. And we really believe that this is a race where we always say the athletes must use their legs, the support must use their brains. So the support crew are really there to make sure the athlete has the best day, to make sure they're looked after, that they've got warm kit when they need it, that they've got fuel, that they're eating. Also hydrating today, because we're expecting a really warm race day. Unusually for Norseman, we think it's going to be quite warm today. So the support will be trying to get lots of fluids down those athletes. And then when we get to the run section, one of the support team can run with our athletes. They can get a little bit of psychological support as well. Now, we've just had the nod that we might be about to see our first athlete coming out of the water. So let's take a look and see what's happening here. So we can see a mixture now of green and yellow caps that identify the male and female competitors. So here we have one of our male athletes, number 20 something by the looks of it. Number 28 coming out of the water. 26 rather, my apologies. And here we might be able to see our first female finisher potentially. So let's just take a look. So 3 athletes coming out together. Okay, number 101 exiting the water. 101 there coming out of the water, our first female finisher by the looks of it. It was a phenomenal swim. Okay, a small group here. 280, 141. And number 19, another of our female athletes there coming out of the water. These are phenomenally strong swims. So we looked at a 5 o'clock start this morning. We're around an hour and 2-3 minutes now. So that's a very fast swim for these guys. Coming thick and fast now out of the beautiful water in Eidfjord.
Unless you want to go on.
149.
149. 201. So all our crew here trying to get the race numbers of the athletes, shouting them out. We're keeping a close eye on everybody to make sure that they get out of the water safely here in Eidfjord this morning.
Yeah, Angel, you're going to have to. You're going to have to go to the other side. No, you can't. They're not going to let you cross over. I mean, you could ask.
There's quite a big group of athletes here now. Oh, a little bit unsteady. So as we've said earlier in the broadcast, these guys, they've been lying face down in the water for roughly just over an hour now. They're going to be feeling a little bit dizzy, a little bit wobbly as they get to their feet and the blood starts rushing back around their bodies. Now the guy coming out of the water here with the white sleeves on his wetsuit, I believe that's one of the De Boer Norseman suits potentially, which was designed for this race. So it has slightly thicker neoprene for warmth, and also it has zips on the cuffs and ankles, I believe, which is quite unusual for a triathlon wetsuit, but that's designed to help them get that wetsuit off that little bit more quickly in T1. Just anything they can do to make these guys' jobs a little bit easier today. And that's where the kit can really help you. So having a really good wetsuit it's a huge help in the swim. If you can get a wetsuit that has the flexibility to work with your swim stroke, but also enough buoyancy in the neoprene on the legs and the lower body that you get that lift and get into that horizontal swim position, that's going to really help you. For those of you that haven't used one of these wetsuits before, unlike a surf wetsuit, they're also coated neoprene. They have that kind of shiny look, which makes them more hydrophobic as well. So our athletes are really able to slip through the water and get the biggest advantage as well. So watching a few more of our swimmers here. We're staying with you in the water exit spot for a little bit longer this morning. We want to try and bring you as many shots as we can of these athletes as they get out of the water. Then our job is to get in the car and follow the course from further up as they traverse Norway on the bike and then head into the mountains on the run. But for now, just seeing some of these lead athletes come out of the water. We are looking at just under an hour and 10 minutes now. So again, the cutoff for the swim here in Eidfjord is 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we've got a little over an hour left to go of the swim here. Now, number one here. So this is Flora College, last year's winner, just coming out of the water. And she's smiling, she's looking good. Flora is a lovely athlete. She's one of the nicest people on the circuit, so it's great to see her finishing and smiling. So there we are, our female winner last year, Flora, heading into transition, off to find her bike, a super strong athlete. And as we said, she had a great race last year, but had to finish on the white finish course down the mountain because of thunderstorms. So she'll really be hoping to get that mountain win this year. We have a big group of athletes coming out now, so they're coming thick and fast out of the water.
142.
Just getting a little bit of a helping hand. We have crew here to help the athletes out of the water, because we know that they can be a little bit dizzy, a little bit unstable on their feet, and also the rocks here underfoot are a little bit slippy as well. So we want to get everyone out the water safely.
35.
So 254 there, number 35. A reminder that if you are wanting to see your athlete and find their race number, if you're supporting someone or supporting your home country, then go to nxtri.com, click on the start list, which will take you through to race ID, and there you will find a list of all the names, nationalities and race numbers of the 259 athletes who jumped off that ferry this morning and started this long swim back to Transition 1. It's just a sea of arms and swim caps now as they come thick and fast out of the water. So our big mid-pack of swimmers here, and I have to say we're exactly an hour and 10 minutes into this race now. So these are still really fast swimmers. These are good athletes.
61.
Okay, so loads of athletes coming out of the water now. We are going to leave this broadcast here and we're going to head back to our car. We're going to try and overtake these athletes and start bringing you some footage of the bike leg. This is a super fast race already. It's going to be really exciting out there on the plateau in the mountains. So I'm going to leave you. I'm Helen for Norseman Live, and I'll see you on later today.
114.
Giulio Molinari from Italy.
Really?
Number 37.
Okay. 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 Because Helen.
No,
Number
she,
33.
she,
Okay.
she,
Anyway,
she said Norwegian as well. I heard the number.
okay. All good. I will ignore. We'll just.
Our mics are on, so they can hear us
Ju-
argue, Igor.
That's always good.
It's always
That's
like, yes, just to update you on the positions at the moment. Okay, so first out of the water. Okay, first out of the
yes.
water was Norseman from Norway. He's one of the Surpass sponsored athletes, a really fast guy, well ahead of the next one in the field, who was Patrick Eriksson from number 23. Patrick, because there was a storm arriving, and the forecast was very accurate. They knew the storm would arrive because he knew that given a full distance of swimming, he would have been first out of the water. But he likes to have the winner multiple times of it's flat. Winner multiple times of it's flat. This is what it says, and then he. This is what it says, and then he go up, and that's really the format at the swim start. So it's up, and that's really the format at the swim start. So it's a really, really tough race. They have.
We don't know. They are receiving. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe
because they class as the elite.
Although stuck, we have a problem. Really hope that he will be into to beat a bit of a cycling. Say that again, good. The highest mountain 10k. After that, one is a bit flat, and then they go 5% meters off.
So where you would normally have a switchback up the and as we can see, already making gains on front runners. He's gained on the third place. Yes,
are now live on the screen on kilometer from the starts in the next hour. But what so they run 4 times and they will get that right. You saw
so he Brazilic the exact slash in them in on the bike course. Yes, yes, around 15. You're correct, Igor. Yes.
Yeah. You can see
so
now
lots of stuff still going
T1.
on.
Yeah,
I was going to say the same. Lots of stuff going on. You may want to. You're probably glad for the fact that our feed is quite resolution because, as you know, in extreme triathlon we don't have any changing events, so there can be a number of on show.
Yeah,
and other bodily parts are available.
Yeah, it's nice to see how people that I was telling before different strategies. That you put the 3 suits first, you put your wetsuit, but on extreme triathlons, people opt to completely change. So they take off everything and then put a bike gear, and then they take off the bike gear to the run. So it's just depends on their plans, on their strategy. If they are want to won or just are enjoying the day. Also, what I can see here is the different of bikes, of course, between the road bikes and transportation and everything. Be clear for you what you want or what you are opt to. Also, what I can see on this stream, there are some chairs in transition. So there are people that really want to sit. The green one, in first, second row in transition. So I think some really get 5-star experience here.
5-star is relative. You're from Montenegro. This is Norway, Igor. That's only 0.5 stars.
0.5. But you have a chair in
it's a
transition.
Chair. Come on.
It's all good. Spectacles around, as you tell before, and as you can see, everybody here around the transition are in some kind of the supporter. So there is no they want to help, they want to be part of the story. Imagine all these people in transition be completely mess. So only one is allowed to help athlete, and they can have more supporters on the bike course and the run course. Of course, not. There are some Bruce, we can speak later about how you can support your own athlete. But you see how busy now the transition is looking, and by the number of the bikes, there are a lot more athletes in the water.
Yeah, and this is an interesting thing because we see so much. I wouldn't say strain on relationships, but the dynamic between the supporter and the athlete has to be really strong, because many people, and we've seen some interesting scenarios in potential divorce scenarios taking place in transition on race day before. But it's good to be calm if they can. I did once see one guy screaming across the transition to his wife, "Where's my special drink?" Which she appeared with in an old McDonald's cup. I've no idea what was in there, but it was a special drink.
Yeah. I was witness also on the Black Lake in 1 year that we have really huge fight between athlete and supporter, and actually they were married, so it was on the personal level. But at the end of the day, yeah, he will be fine. I see some really now interesting data, and now we have 155 athletes on the bike course in this moment. So I think we are in that for that number that everybody is looking to be. So we need first 160 athletes for the black shirt, and all the others will opt for the white one. So right now, when you are on the bike and you ask your support, okay, on what place I'm, and tell you are now on 160 to those people in front of you. So now the race actually start now. Yeah.
And for those who don't know, although I'm sure it's now a living legend, the 161 number, of course, means that 160 people are allowed to go up top to the top, presuming the mountain zone for weather reasons. It's a time cut off. It's an athlete number. So the first 160 athletes are allowed to go to the top of Gauss to top, which means that athlete 161, unfortunately, is the first one to be turned back. We always think there should be a special prize for that athlete. Perhaps a half white, half black T-shirt, but we'll see. But we know that's yes, does exist, in fact, but it's not official.
Yeah.
But that is on their minds all day, because they have to not only the time but the position where they are on the course. So there's a lot of giving this data to the via the race tracker is very useful for the support teams on the day.
We have some famous races going through this race. Zero, right? Racing.
Yes, and when you say famous, you mean with our small
from 8, but
we mean, of course, that's 90k the tunnel through the corks opens up.